Good morning and welcome to another episode of the Marvinizer Mastery Group, better known as MMG, as Cal refers to us. MMG. I like that, Cal. Hey, the word of the day, actually, the word for the week. I want you to think about this word for the week when you're communicating both at home and with your internal and external customer. The word for the week is respond. Respond, because there's so many times when we react to what people say. It's like that knee-jerk reaction, and I want you to do a little better at thinking before you speak. Thinking before you speak, because a lot of times when you respond, you're really thinking through what you're going to say. There's an old adage that says, "Seek understanding first before being understood." So, word for the week: respond. Practice responding. Breathe. Pause. You know, it's amazing how you can make sure you're not assuming what the customer is saying or what the person is saying, but you're really responding and providing a customized solution to whatever their thought process was or communication was to you. So that's the word for the week, Cal. Respond. Let's respond and not react when we're talking to people. What's the stump the Marvinizer question this week? Ask Marvin anything. What do you got, Cal?
So, our Ask Marvin Anything question this week is, what's the best way to set and achieve sales goals?
It's the best way. Well, it's kind of like two parts there, Cal. You're giving me two questions in one. Now, what's the best way to set, and what's the best way to what?
Achieve sales goals.
Achieve? Okay. Well, there's two things that come to mind. One, with the first part of that is, I think when you're setting any kind of goal, whether it's sales goal or anything, I found that the SMART goal philosophy is probably the best. That's the SMART. S stands for, make sure the goal is specific. I think sometimes we make it too broad. So is the goal going to be specific? Two, is the goal going to be measurable? Something you can go back and check to see how well you're doing with it. So it's got to be measurable. Three, achievable. And I think that's sometimes where we get in trouble. We set a goal, but we set it too high, or sometimes we set it too low. So is this goal achievable? And is it relevant, for what's going on right now? So we have to look at the relevancy of that particular goal. And last, is it time bound? Is that something you can get done within the period of time that you're looking at? So when you're setting a goal, look at the SMART goal philosophy of specific, measurable, achievable, and relevant and time bound. But I think something that you want to look at also is because I think you've heard me use the expression, Cal, sales is a mental marathon. So you want to break that goal down. Say if your goal for the year is 1,000,002 or 2,000,000 or 3,000,000. That's a big number to digest. But if you look at it from a daily standpoint, a weekly standpoint, and then a monthly standpoint, break down that goal into achievable uh, uh, amounts. And then last, staying motivated. How are you going to stay motivated all year? What are we? This is actually, we're coming to the end of March, and before you know it, we'll be into May, June, July, and half of the year will be over with. So sometime you got to look back and see, how have I done up to this point? Do I need to make any adjustments? And what am I going to do to stay motivated for the 12 months that I'm expected, to whittle away at this goal? So that's my response to that, and I hope that helps the person who sent that one in. The topic that we're going to focus on this week, Cal, is we're staying with overcoming customer resistance. Overcoming customer resistance. Since today, I'd like to focus on postponement. Postponement, and I want you to take a look at postponement from the human nature aspect of it. I think sometimes if we're not careful, we assume that they don't want to move forward. But what I found that's really not what's going on. A lot of times they're having maybe buyer's remorse, or sometimes they begin just procrastinating because actually there's actually clubs out there called procrastinator clubs. And I think a lot of people have joined without even knowing because it's easy not to do anything. Even though I know I need the product or service you've talked about, the thought of pulling the trigger and moving forward is really really frightening for some people. So what happens is they do nothing. Yeah, and that's with anything. Taking a vacation, buying a new car, having a conversation with someone that may be a little confrontational. It's easier just to stay pat and not do anything. But in the meantime, nothing gets accomplished. So I think we really have to use those three things I've been talking about already with whether it's price, postponement, competition, or change. And the same thing applies to postponement, Cal. When we have people that are really waffling around their decision, remember those three options. I want to get clarity first and find out why are you not moving forward right now. So again, customer says, and let's take the basic fundamental things people say. Let me think about it. Well, again, you have three options. You can start off being silent, and then hopefully they'll clarify their position. Or you can ask for clarity by saying, what exactly is keeping me from moving forward? Or you can paraphrase it back and pause and say, so you need more time to think. But if you notice, again, all three are a pause. Either you start with a pause, right? You ask a question and pause. And then if that doesn't work, you can paraphrase it back and pause. Because sometimes you may have to do all three: silence, ask a question, and paraphrase. Because remember we talked about sometimes three, four, five attempts, to get that person to move off that spot that they're on at that point in time before they move on. So work on your preparation and practice topic this week. Practice overcoming the postponement objection because that's coming. But first and foremost, use that word of the day too to make sure you're responding and not reacting. And keep in mind, preparation and practice provides peak performance. Preparation and practice provides peak performance. The way you practice is the way you play. And don't practice until you get it right. Practice until you will get it wrong. Make it a great week.